I trusted my son and daughter-in-law with my wife. I went to another state to give them a better future. For years I sent money believing she was fine, taken care of, and loved. But when I returned, I found no one at home. A neighbor told me he had seen her near the downtown market. I walked without understanding anything, and there she was, my wife, among cardboard boxes, hugging a photo of us. She did not say a word, she just looked at me, and I understood everything. I covered her with my coat that day. I felt her trembling under the fabric, I do not know if from cold or shame, maybe both. I was trembling too, but from a rage I had never known. A silent rage that burns you inside without making noise, like a burning coal in your chest that you cannot put out or spit out. My name is Ernest Miller. I'm 68 years old, and I built my whole life brick by brick since I was a 12-year-old kid selling gum on the streets of Chicago. I do not come from a rich family. My father died when I was 8, and my mother broke her back washing other people's clothes so my brothers and I could eat. I learned from a young age that in this life no one gives you anything. What you have you earn with your hands, with sweat, with sleepless nights. At 20, I already had my first business, a small hardware store in a blue-collar neighborhood. I sold nails, cement tools. People knew me as the honest young man who did not cheat you on the change. Little by little I grew. I saved every dollar as if it were the last. I did not buy a car until I was 30. I did not go out partying. I did not drink. My only vice was working and dreaming of a better future for my people. I met Mary when she was 19 and I was 23. She was a clerk in a fabric store downtown. She had a shy smile and soft hands that seemed not to have known hard work, although they had known it. I fell in love with her the first day I saw her. It took me 3 months to dare to speak to her, another 2 to invite her to walk in the park, and 6 more to ask her to marry me. We got married in a small church with 20 guests. We did not have money for more. She wore a white dress her mother had sewn. I wore a suit borrowed from a friend, but we were happy. We had that. Pure, honest happiness without lies. The kind of happiness only known to those who have gone hungry together and know that love cannot be eaten, but it keeps you standing. We had 3 children. Richard the eldest, then Sarah, and finally, almost 10 years later, Michael arrived. Richard was always the most ambitious. Since he was a child, he wanted things expensive, toys, brand-name clothes. I tried to teach him the value of work, but maybe I was wrong. Maybe I gave him too much. When a son sees you sweat to give him something, he learns. When you give it to him without effort, he only learns to ask for more. Sarah was different, studious, quiet. She married a good man, an engineer. They live in Seattle. We do not talk much, but I know she is happy. Michael, the youngest, went to live in Canada 15 years ago. He works in a technology company. He sends me messages every month. He is a good boy, but he is far away, too far for what happened. Richard married Vanessa, a woman from the city, the daughter of a lawyer. From the beginning I knew she saw me as an old hillbilly. I saw it in her eyes when she came to my house. The way she looked at the furniture, the curtains that Mary had chosen with so much affection, as if everything were trash, as if we were less. But Richard loved her, and I respected that. A father must respect his children's decisions, even if they hurt, even if you know they are heading straight for the cliff. I let them make mistakes. I thought life would teach them. How foolish I was. By then I already had 3 hardware stores, 2 construction material warehouses, and several properties I had bought over the years. I was not a millionaire, but I lived well, very well. I had enough so my children would not suffer the needs I suffered. That was my pride, my achievement, giving them what I never had. 7 years ago I received a job offer in Texas. A contact I had made in the business offered me a partnership. It was a big opportunity, very big. It meant establishing a branch there, opening a market, bringing in products. But it also meant leaving Chicago, leaving Mary. She was already sick by then. Nothing serious, the doctors told me. Controlled diabetes, high blood pressure, age things, but she needed care, daily medicines, constant checkups. I did not want to leave her. I told her I would not go, that the money did not matter that much. It was Richard who insisted. Dad, I will take care of Mom. Vanessa and I live here in the city. We will take care of her as if she were our own mother. You go grow the business. It is the future for all of us. Trust me, trust me. Those words gave me peace. My son, my firstborn, asking me for trust offering to take care of the most valuable thing I had. How could I refuse? How could I doubt my own blood? Mary also insisted. Go in peace, Ernest. I will be fine. Richard is a good son, and Vanessa will keep me company. Do not worry about me. Go fulfill your dreams. You still have dreams to fulfill. So I left, with a broken heart but full of hope. The first few months I spoke with Mary every other day. She told me she was fine, that Richard took her to the doctor, that Vanessa cooked for her, that they watched movies together, that everything was perfect. I sent her money every month, a generous amount for her medicines, for her food, for whatever she needed. I also sent money to Richard so that he and Vanessa would not have to spend from their own pockets taking care of my wife. I wanted it to be fair. I did not want them to feel she was a burden. Over time, the calls became less frequent. Mary told me she was tired, that she preferred to rest. I understood. Age sends the bill to all of us. Richard assured me on the phone that everything was going well. Mom is perfect. Dad, do not worry. Focus on the business. And I focused. I worked like a mule for 6 years, day and night. I built something big in Texas, something that would be worth millions. All for them. For my family to leave them a heritage that would protect them when I was no longer there. A month ago, I decided to return. The business in Texas was already solid. I had trustworthy people running it. It was time to go home, to hug my wife, to enjoy what I had built with her. I wanted to take her traveling, see the beach, see the ocean together like when we were young, and did not even have money for the bus. I did not tell anyone I was coming back. I wanted to give them a surprise. I took the flight from Houston. I arrived in Chicago on a Tuesday afternoon. The sky was gray. It was cold. I took a taxi straight to the house, my house, the one I bought 30 years ago, the one I saw grow along with my children, the one with the garden where Mary planted roses every spring. When I arrived, the gate had a new padlock. I knocked several times. No one answered. I took out my keys, but they did not fit in the lock. They had changed it. I felt a hollow in my stomach. Something was wrong, very wrong. I knocked at the neighbor's house. Mr. Henderson, an older man who had lived there since before me. We had known each other for decades. When he opened the door and saw me, his face transformed. He went from surprise to something like pity. That scared me more than the padlock. "Ernest, I did not know you were back. Mr. Henderson, where is Mary? Where is my wife?" The old man looked down. He scratched the back of his neck. He sighed deeply. "I do not know how to tell you this, friend. Your wife, she does not live there anymore. Your son sold the house about 8 months ago. He moved with his wife to a gated community on the other side of the city. Your wife? I saw her about 2 weeks ago around the municipal market area near the bus station." The world stopped. Mr. Henderson's words sounded distant, as if coming from a tunnel. He sold the house, my house, Mary's house, and she was near the market. Living where? With whom? What do you mean you saw her near the market, Mr. Henderson? What was she doing there? The old man did not want to speak. I grabbed him by the arm, not with violence, but with the desperation of a man who feels the ground opening beneath his feet. She was begging Ernest, or so it seemed to me. She was sitting on a corner next to some cardboard boxes. I approached her. I asked her if she was okay. She recognized me. She told me yes, that she was okay. But she was not okay, friend. She looked sick, thin. She was wearing old clothes. I wanted to give her money, but she did not accept it. She told me not to worry, and she walked away. I did not know where. I ran out. I do not remember if I thanked Mr. Henderson. I do not remember if I closed his gate. I only remember that I ran like I had not run in 30 years. I hailed a taxi. I shouted at the driver to take me to the downtown market, to hurry, that it was urgent. The man drove fast, but not fast enough. Every traffic light was an eternity. Every block a hell. When we arrived, I got out without waiting for the change. I walked among the stalls, among the people, searching, shouting her name in my mind, because my throat would not respond. And then I saw her. She was sitting on a corner among dirty cardboard boxes and trash bags. She was wearing a torn sweater, stained pants, broken shoes, her hair white and messy, her hands trembling. And in those hands she held a photograph. Our wedding photograph. The same one that stood for 40 years in the living room of our house. I approached slowly. I could not run. My legs would not respond. Every step was a mountain. When I was in front of her, I crouched down. I looked into her eyes, those eyes that had seen me young, strong, full of dreams. Now they saw me destroyed. She said nothing. She just looked at me, and in that look I understood everything. The abandonment, the betrayal, the hunger, the cold, the lonely nights, the fear, everything. I took off my coat and covered her. She was trembling. Me too. I helped her up. She weighed nothing. She was a broken bird. I took her with me without saying a word. We took a taxi. We went to a hotel. I bathed her. I gave her clean clothes. I bought her food. She ate slowly as if she had forgotten how to do it. She did not speak. She did not cry. She just ate and then fell asleep on the bed, hugging that photograph. I sat in a chair facing the window. I watched the city, the lights, the traffic, life passing by as if nothing had happened. But something had happened, something irreparable, and someone was going to pay for it. That night, I did not sleep. I only thought. I planned. I remembered every penny I sent, every call where my son lied to me, every time Mary told me she was fine because surely he forced her to lie. I remembered, and I felt something inside me break and at the same time harden. The next morning when Mary woke up, I asked her what had happened. She told me everything with a weak but firm voice. Mary told me everything with a weak but firm voice, as if she had been waiting for that moment for years, as if the words had been trapped in her throat and finally could come out. The first few months were good, Ernest. Richard and Vanessa treated me well. They took me to the doctor, gave me my medicines, we ate together. I helped them with the cleaning of the house, with the food. I wanted to be useful. I did not want to be a burden. She paused. She drank water. Her hands still trembled, holding the glass. I said nothing. I just waited. I needed to hear it all, even if it burned me inside. After about 6 months, everything changed. Vanessa started treating me differently. She spoke to me with contempt. She told me I made a mess, that I made noise, that I was in the way. Richard defended her at first, but asked me to understand that Vanessa was stressed, that her job was difficult, that I should have patience. Mary looked down, pressed the photograph against her chest. One day, Vanessa told me I could no longer use the living room, that it was her space. They gave me a small room in the back of the house next to the laundry room. It was cold there. Water got in when it rained, but I did not complain. I thought it was temporary, that things would improve. I felt the rage rising up my back like a wild animal, but I stayed still, silent. She needed to talk. I needed to listen. Then they started taking things away from me. First it was my books. Vanessa said they took up too much space. Then my plants. She said they attracted flies. Then my television. Richard said it consumed too much electricity. They left me alone with a bed, a chair, and that photograph of ours. The only thing they did not dare to take from me. Her eyes filled with tears, but they did not fall, as if she had no tears left to shed. The money you sent never reached my hands, Ernest, not a dollar. Richard told me he was saving it for me, that it was for my security, that he managed everything. I believed him. I always believed him. He was my son. Those last words broke me. He was my son, the son I raised, the son I taught to walk, whom I carried on my shoulders, whom I hugged when he had nightmares. That son. They stopped taking me to the doctor. My medicines ran out. When I asked for more, Vanessa shouted at me that my illness was very expensive, that they were not my servants, that I should be grateful they gave me a roof and food that was less every time. They gave me leftovers, what they did not want. Sometimes I spent days eating only tortillas with salt. I got up from the chair. I could not stay seated. I walked around the hotel room, trying to control the storm I had inside. Mary continued speaking. A year ago, Richard told me they had sold the house. Our house, Ernest. The house where we raised our children. He told me it was necessary, that there was a business opportunity, that with that money they would buy something better, that I would go with them. I did not want to sign the papers at first, but he convinced me. He told me you would agree that it was the best for everyone. I signed because I trusted him, because he was my son. Her voice cracked a little, but she continued. When they sold the house, they moved to an elegant gated community. I thought they would take me with them. But on moving day, Richard gave me $50 and told me to find a place to stay. Just for a few months, he said, until things settled down. Vanessa did not even look at me. She was happy packing her new things, her expensive furniture, everything they bought with the money from our house. I had to sit down again. My legs would not hold me. $50. They gave my wife $50 and kicked her out into the street like a dog. I looked for a room to rent, but I could not afford it. The $50 ran out in a week. I tried to ask for work, but no one wants to hire an old and sick woman. I tried to call Sarah, but her phone was no longer the same. I tried to call Michael in Canada, but I did not know his new number. And you were so far away. I did not want to worry you. I thought I could handle it alone, that I would find a way. Mary wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. I ended up on the street. I slept where I could in ATMs, on park benches, under bridges. A lady at the market gave me free food sometimes. A man at a taco stand gave me tortillas when he had leftovers. That is how I survived these months without knowing when you would return, without knowing if you would return, but always with this photograph. It was the only thing I had left of us, of what we were, of what we built together. When she finished speaking, I approached her. I knelt in front of the bed. I took her hands in mine. They were cold, full of new calluses from wounds that had not healed well. I kissed them. I cried over them. I cried like I had not cried since my mother died. Forgive me, Mary. Forgive me for leaving you, for trusting who I should not have, for not being here to protect you. Forgive me. She put her hand on my head. She stroked my hair like she did when we were young and I came home tired from work. You have nothing to forgive yourself for, Ernest. You were always a good man, a good husband, a good father. You did what you thought was right. Neither of us imagined this would happen, but it happened. You are here now. That is what matters. But no, that was not the only thing that mattered. Justice also mattered. It also mattered that they paid for what they did, not with violence, not with blood, but with consequences, with the justice that only money and the law can give when used correctly. I stayed with Mary in that hotel for 3 days. I took her to a private doctor. They did complete tests. She was malnourished, anemic, her diabetes was out of control. She had skin infections from sleeping on the street. The doctor told me I had arrived just in time, a few more months, and maybe the story would be different. Those words confirmed what I already knew. My son had not only abandoned her, he had condemned her. During those 3 days, I also made calls, many calls to my lawyer in Chicago, to my accountant in Texas, to contacts I had made during years of business people who knew how things worked. People who understood that in this world there are 2 types of justice, the one fought in courts and the one fought in offices, in banks, in public records. The 4th day I went out early. I told Mary I had matters to resolve, to rest, to eat well, that she should watch television, that soon everything would be better. She believed me because she has always believed me, because in 45 years of marriage I have never lied to her. I went straight to the bank, to the main branch where I had my main accounts. I asked to speak to the manager, a young man who knew me from years back, who knew how much money I moved, who respected me because numbers speak louder than words. Mr. Miller, what a pleasure to see you back. How can I help you? I need to review all movements of the accounts where my son Richard Miller has access as a beneficiary or authorized user. From 7 years ago until today, I want every transfer, every withdrawal, every deposit, everything. The manager swallowed hard. He knew something bad was happening, but he did his job. He gave me the information. I sat in his office for 2 hours, reviewing papers, account statements, receipts, and what I saw froze my blood. During the first 6 months, Richard had used the money correctly. Payments for doctors, medicines, supermarket, everything documented. But after that, everything changed. Large transfers began to accounts in his and Vanessa's name, purchase of a luxury car, credit card payments with expenses in expensive restaurants, trips, designer clothes. The sale of my house appeared there too. $350,000, all deposited into his personal account. Of that money, not a dollar reached Mary's hands. In total, he had diverted almost $500,000 between what I sent for my wife's care and what he took from the sale of the house. $500,000 that he used to give himself a life of luxury while my wife slept on the street. I want to close all accounts where he has access. All of them. Today. The manager nodded. We did the paperwork. In 2 hours, Richard was out of everything, without access to anything. I left him only the accounts that were solely in his name, with the money he had earned on his own. But everything else, everything that came from me, I cut it. Like you cut a rotten branch from a tree. Then I went to my lawyer, Mr. Thompson, a man of 60, serious, efficient, the kind who do not ask more than necessary and do their job without drama. Mr. Thompson, I need to sue my son for dispossession and family fraud. The lawyer looked at me over his glasses. He had handled my legal affairs for 20 years. He knew who I was. He knew who my family was. Mr. Miller, are you sure? A lawsuit against a son is complicated. It can come out in the media. It can affect his reputation. My reputation is already affected, Mr. Thompson, for having raised a son capable of doing what he did. I want to sue him. I want him to return every dollar he stole. I want him to pay for what he did to my wife. And I want it legally documented that he is no longer heir to anything of mine. The lawyer nodded. He took out papers. We started working. I told him everything. I showed him the bank statements. I gave him Richard's address, Vanessa's name, everything he needed to build the case. He told me it was solid, very solid. That with the banking evidence and Mary's testimony we could win without a problem. I also want to change my will. Everything I have will remain for Mary while she lives. Then it will be divided between Sarah and Michael only. Richard will receive nothing, not a nail, not a brick, nothing. That is within your rights, Mr. Miller. We will make the new will this week. I left the lawyer's office feeling something strange. It was not relief. It was not satisfaction. It was simply the feeling of having done the right thing, of having put things in order, of having protected whom I should have always protected. But something was still missing. I still needed to see his face. I needed to hear what he had to say. I needed to give him the chance to explain himself, although there was no possible explanation. Not for him, for me. To be able to close that door and move on. I looked for his address in the papers the bank gave me. An exclusive, gated community on the west side of the city. Big houses, high walls, private security, all paid for with his mother's suffering. I drove there. The guard at the entrance stopped me. "Good afternoon. Which house are you going to?" "To Richard Miller's house. I am his father." The guard checked a list. He made a call. After a few minutes he let me pass. I parked my rental car in front of a 2-story house. Modern facade, perfect garden, 2 cars in the driveway. A BMW and a Mercedes, both from this year. I felt the rage returning, but I controlled it. I took a deep breath. I got out of the car, walked to the door. I rang the bell. Vanessa opened. She was wearing expensive sportswear, perfect makeup, done nails. When she saw me, her expression changed from surprise to discomfort. "Ernest, we did not know you had returned." I did not greet her. I did not shake her hand. I just stared at her. "I want to speak with my son." "Now." She stepped aside. I entered the house. It was beautiful. Marble floors, designer furniture, a huge television in the living room, expensive paintings on the walls. Everything new. Everything shiny. Everything bought with stolen money. Richard came down the stairs. He was wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt. He looked comfortable, relaxed, until he saw me. Then his face went pale. I knew in that moment that he knew exactly why I was there. "Dad, what a surprise. When did you arrive?" "5 days ago." "And I have spent 5 days looking for your mother." "Do you know where I found her, Richard?" He did not answer. Vanessa stood by the stairs, silent. I found her living on the street, among cardboard boxes, dirty, sick, hungry, with a photograph of our wedding as her only possession. That is the only thing you left her from 40 years of marriage and a lifetime of work. A photograph. Richard looked down. He did not deny anything. He did not say it was a lie. He just stood there like a scolded child. "Dad, I can explain." "Explain what?" "Explain how you sold your mother's house without giving her $1. Explain how you stole $500,000 that were for her care. Explain how you kicked her out into the street with $50 and bought yourself a BMW. What are you going to explain?" My voice sounded louder than I wanted. Vanessa took a step back. Richard raised his hands. "It was a mistake, Dad. Things got complicated. We had debts. Vanessa wanted a better house. I thought I could fix it later. That Mom would be fine." "What?" "That she would be fine living on the street." Silence. A silence heavy as a tombstone. "I come to inform you of something. You no longer have access to any of my accounts. You are no longer a beneficiary of anything. I am suing you for dispossession and family fraud, and I cut you out of my will. You will inherit nothing when I die. Nothing. I warned Vanessa the day you married her. I told her that in this family we respect, we care for parents, we honor those who gave us life. But you decided to do the opposite. Now you are going to pay the consequences." Richard took a step towards me. Now there was fear in his eyes. "Dad, you cannot do that. I am your son. I made a mistake, but I am your son. A son takes care of his mother. A son respects his parents. A son does not sell the family home to buy himself luxuries. You did not act like my son. You acted like a stranger, like a thief. And thieves are treated like what they are." Vanessa finally spoke. Her voice sounded shrill, desperate. "You cannot leave us with nothing. We have a life here. We have expenses." I looked at her. That woman who never respected me, who always saw me as a foolish old hillbilly. "You should have thought about that before leaving my wife on the street. Now you are going to learn to live with what you earn yourselves. Without my help, without my money, without my protection. Exactly how you left Mary. I turned to leave. Richard followed me to the door. Dad, please, we can fix this. I will return the money. I will take care of Mom. I promise. I stopped at the door. I looked at him one last time. You had 7 years to take care of her. 7 years to fulfill what you promised. I do not want your promises anymore. I do not believe in your words anymore. The only thing I want is for my wife to never have to see your face again, nor depend on your false kindness. I left that house. I got into my car. I started it and drove away. I did not look back. In the rearview mirror, I saw Richard standing at the door, watching me leave. But I felt nothing for him anymore. Neither love nor hate, nothing. It was like seeing a stranger. I drove back to the hotel. Mary was awake, watching television, eating fruit. She looked better, still weak but better. When I entered, she smiled at me. That smile that had made me fall in love so many years ago. How did it go, Ernest? I sat next to her on the bed. I took her hand. I fixed some things I should have fixed a long time ago, but now everything is in order. You do not have to worry about anything. Never again, she nodded. She did not ask more. She knew I had done what was necessary. After so many years together, words were unnecessary. What are we going to do now? She asked. We are going to look for a new house. Just for us. Where no one bothers us. Where we can live peacefully. And we are going to travel. To see what we never saw. To enjoy what we have left of life. Together. As it always should have been. Mary rested her head on my shoulder. I felt her calm, breathing her relaxed body. For the first time in months, she was at peace. And I was starting to be too. That night, while she slept, I stayed awake thinking. Thinking about how a father never finishes knowing his children. About how money changes people. About how ambition can kill family love. I thought about all the mistakes I made. About all the signs I ignored. About all the times I gave Richard what he asked for without teaching him to earn it first. Maybe I was too soft on him. Maybe I was too hard. I do not know. What I do know is that there is no turning back. The damage is done. The trust is broken. And some broken things cannot be repaired. They can only be replaced. The following days were of paperwork, of documents, of signatures. The lawsuit against Richard advanced. My lawyer informed me every 2 days. He said Richard had hired another lawyer, that he wanted to negotiate, that he offered to return part of the money if I withdrew the lawsuit. I told Mr. Thompson no, that this was not about money. It was about principles, about justice, about dignity. I also started looking for a house, something quiet, far from the noise, with a garden so Mary could have her plants again, with space so we could receive Sarah and Michael when they came to visit us, a house that was truly ours, without ghosts from the past, without bitter memories. I found a property on the outskirts of the city, in a small but nice subdivision, a 1-story house, 3 bedrooms, big garden, view of the mountains. It was perfect. I bought it cash. No mortgage. No debts. With the money I had earned honestly all my life. I called Sarah. I told her everything. She cried on the phone. She told me she knew nothing of what had happened, that Richard had told her Mom was fine, that she lived with them, that she was happy. She told me she would come visit us soon, that she wanted to hug her mother, that she would bring her children so they could know the grandparents' new house. I also called Michael. He was in his office in Toronto when he answered. I explained the situation. He remained silent for a long time. Then I heard he was crying. My youngest son, the one who was always noble and hard-working, the one who went far away but never forgot his parents. Dad, I am going to ask for vacation time. I am coming there. I want to see my mom. I want to hug her. And I want to talk to Richard. I do not understand how he could do that. Do not come for Richard, son. Come for your mother. She is the one who needs her family now. Richard already made his decisions. He already chose his path. We must choose ours. Michael promised to come in 2 weeks. That gave me time to finish fixing the new house, so that Mary would be stronger, so that when our good children arrived, they would find a real home, a place full of love, not of appearances or luxuries, only genuine love. Meanwhile, Richard tried to contact me several times. Calls I did not answer, messages I did not read. Once he appeared at the hotel, but the receptionist told him I was not there. I gave instructions not to let him up. I did not want to see him. I did not want to hear his justifications. I had already heard enough. I had already seen enough. Vanessa also tried to talk to Mary. She sent her a message on Facebook asking for forgiveness, saying everything had been a misunderstanding, that they missed her, that they wanted her to come back to them. Mary showed me the message. She asked me what she should do. Do what your heart tells you, Mary. I am not going to tell you how to feel. Those are decisions only you can make. She deleted the message without replying. She looked at me and said something I will never forget. Forgiveness is for those who deserve it, Ernest, and it is earned with actions, not with pretty words when there is no other choice. If they were truly sorry, they would have come looking for me on the street when they threw me out. They would have asked if I was okay. They would have felt even a little guilt, but they never did. Then it is not forgiveness they seek. It is convenience. My wife was always wiser than me, stronger than she appeared. Those months on the street did not destroy her. They tempered her. They taught her who her family truly was, and who only used that title when it suited them. 2 weeks later, we moved into the new house. It was a sunny day. Mary walked through every room with bright eyes, touched the walls, looked out the windows, stood in the garden, and breathed deeply. Then she turned to me and smiled. We are going to be happy here, Ernest. I feel it in the air. This is our place. And she was right. For the first time in a long time, I felt peace. True peace. Not the false tranquility I had in Texas, thinking everything was fine, when in reality everything was falling apart. This was real peace. The peace of knowing I had done the right thing, that I had protected whom I had to protect, that I had put limits where they needed to be. Sarah arrived 3 days later with her husband and her 2 children. When she saw her mother, she cried. I saw them hugging in the garden for a long time without saying anything. Just hugging. The grandchildren ran around, happy in their innocence, oblivious to the pain their grandmother had gone through. That night we all dined together. Sarah prepared the mole her mother taught her. The grandchildren told stories from school. Sarah's husband and I talked about business. Mary was radiant, smiling, serving food, being a grandmother, being a mother, being the strong woman she always was before they broke her. Before leaving, Sarah looked for me in the garden. It was night. The stars shone clear. Dad, what is going to happen with Richard? What has to happen will happen, daughter. The law will do its job. I will do mine, and he will have to live with the consequences of what he did. Do you think one day they can fix things? I looked at her. My daughter, always looking for reconciliation, always believing in the good, just like her mother. I do not know, Sarah. There are things time cannot cure. There are betrayals that have no return. What he did to your mother was not a mistake. It was a conscious decision he made for months, for years. He had 1,000 opportunities to do the right thing, and he chose the easy way. That is not forgotten, and even if forgiven, it is never forgotten. Sarah nodded. She hugged me. She left the next day with her family. She promised to return soon, and I believed her because she did keep her promises. Michael arrived a week later. He came straight from the airport, still with his suitcase in hand. When he saw his mother, his legs buckled. He fell to his knees in front of her. He cried like a child. Mary hugged him. She stroked his hair. She whispered things I could not hear. Michael stayed with us for 2 weeks. He helped fix things around the house. He painted the guest room walls. He fixed the garden. He spent time with his mother. Long conversations in the living room. Walks through the subdivision. Quiet meals where they recovered lost years. One afternoon, Michael looked for me. He was serious. Dad, I went to see Richard. I felt a weight in my chest, but I said nothing. I wanted to hear his version. Give him the benefit of the doubt. I needed to understand how he could do what he did. And what did he tell you? Pure justifications. That he was pressured. That Vanessa wanted things. That he thought he could fix it. That he did not know Mom would end up on the street. But everything sounded fake, Dad. Like a rehearsed speech. Like empty excuses. I asked him why he never looked for Mom after kicking her out. Why he never asked if she was okay. He did not know what to answer. Michael wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. He is not my brother, Dad. Or he ceased to be. The Richard I knew would never have done this. This man is a stranger with my brother's face. I did not answer. There was nothing to say. Michael had discovered it for himself. Just like me. Just like Sarah. Just like everyone who truly loved Mary. Days passed. The lawsuit advanced. The lawyer informed me that Richard had finally accepted an agreement. He would return the money from the sale of the house plus interest. He could not approach Mary without her consent, and everything that happened would be legally documented. It was not enough. It would never be enough. But it was something. I signed the papers. I received the money. I did not need it, but that was not the point. The point was for him to pay. For him to feel even a little of the pain he caused. I put that money in an account in Mary's name for her to use on whatever she wanted, so she would know someone did value her, that someone did respect her. Months kept passing. Life found its rhythm. Mary recovered her health, her weight, her smile. She returned to being the woman I remembered, the one who married me over 40 years ago, the one who walked by my side through thick and thin, the one who deserved all the good years she had left ahead. Months kept passing. Life found its rhythm. Mary recovered her health, her weight, her smile. She returned to being the woman I remembered, the one who married me over 40 years ago, the one who walked by my side through thick and thin, the one who deserved all the good years she had left ahead. But deep wounds heal slow, very slow. Although her body was recovering, something in her eyes had changed, a sadness that did not go away completely, a distrust that did not exist before. Sometimes I found her looking out the window with that photograph of our wedding in her hands, lost in thoughts she did not share. One night I woke up and she was not in bed. I looked for her around the house. I found her sitting in the garden. It was 3 a.m. It was cold. She was only wearing her robe. I sat next to her without saying anything. I waited. After a long while she spoke. "Sometimes I dream I am still on the street, Ernest. That all this is a lie. That I am going to wake up on that cardboard next to the market, hungry, cold, afraid, and that you never arrive." I put my arm around her shoulders. I pulled her close to me. "This is real, Mary. This house is real. I am here, and you are never going to be alone again. Never again are you going to be cold or hungry or afraid. I promise you." I know, my head knows, but my heart still does not believe it entirely. It is like a part of me keeps waiting for everything to collapse again, for someone to take this away from me too. That conversation broke me. It made me understand that the damage Richard caused was not just physical. It was not just hunger or cold or illness. It was something deeper. He had broken my wife's capacity to feel safe, to trust, to believe that good things could last. The next day I took her to a psychologist, a doctor specialized in trauma. At first Mary did not want to go. She said problems of the mind resolved themselves with time, that she was strong, that she did not need help. But I insisted. I explained that asking for help is not weakness, that healing does not have to be a lonely path. She started going twice a week. She did not tell me much of what she talked about in those sessions. She only told me they did her good, that the doctor understood her, that she was learning to process what she lived. I respected her privacy. I did not ask more than she wanted to share. I just made sure to be there when she came out of every session, to take her and bring her, so she knew she was not alone in that process. Meanwhile, my life also found order. I reorganized my businesses, delegated more in Texas. I hired trustworthy people to handle daily operations. I no longer wanted to be away from Mary. I no longer wanted work to be more important than my family. I had learned that lesson the most painful way. One afternoon I received a call. It was Richard. I had not spoken to him in almost 6 months since he signed the agreement. My first instinct was to hang up. But something stopped me. I answered, "Dad." His voice sounded different, thinner, less sure. "Tell me. I need to talk to you, please. Just give me 5 minutes. We have nothing to talk about anymore, Richard. Please, Dad. Just 5 minutes. I beg you." There was something in his tone, something I had not heard before. It was not manipulation. It was not the arrogant Richard who had confronted me in his luxury house. It was something else. I agreed to see him, but in a neutral place, in a coffee shop downtown. I did not want him to know where we lived now. I did not want him to have access to Mary. I arrived first. I ordered a coffee. I waited. Richard arrived 15 minutes late. When I saw him, I almost did not recognize him. He had lost weight. He had deep circles under his eyes. The clothes he wore were not brand name. They were normal clothes. Common. He sat across from me without looking me in the eye. "Thanks for coming, Dad." I did not answer. I just looked at him waiting. I want you to know I am sorry. I know those words mean nothing after what I did. I know they do not change anything. But I needed to tell you. I needed you to hear it from my mouth. And what do you expect me to do with that, Richard? Forgive you, hug you and say everything is fine? No, I expect nothing. I just needed to say it. I have not been able to sleep for months. I see Mom in my dreams. I see her on that cardboard. And I see myself buying stupid things with her money. I see myself kicking her out of the house. And I wake up wanting to vomit. He took a breath, trembling. Vanessa left me. She took everything she could. Turns out she had another man, a partner of her father. She went with him. She left me with the debts, with the credit cards, with everything. I had to sell the BMW. I had to sell the Mercedes. I had to move to a small apartment. I lost my job because I could not concentrate. Now I give private English lessons to pay the rent. I remained silent. I did not feel pity. I did not feel satisfaction. I felt nothing. I am not telling you this so you pity me, Dad. I tell you because now I understand. Now I know what it is to be left with nothing, what it is to feel the floor opening under your feet. And I realize that was what I did to Mom, but worse, because she was old. She was sick, and I was her son. Her responsibility was to have raised me. Mine was to take care of her. And I failed. Richard wiped his eyes. He was crying, real tears. Not the calculated tears of someone seeking to manipulate. These were different. I do not come to ask you to forgive me. I do not even come to ask you for money. I just come to tell you that you were right, that I do not deserve to be your son, that I do not deserve to carry your last name, and that if one day in many years Mom can forgive me, I will spend the rest of my life trying to make up for even a little bit of what I did to her. He got up from the table. He left me an envelope. Inside was a check. For 50,000 pesos. Wait, no, $5,000. It is all I have been able to save in these months. I know it is nothing compared to what I stole, but it is all I have. Give it to Mom. Tell her that. Tell her that her son is trying to be a better man even if it is too late. He left without waiting for an answer. I watched him walk toward the exit. His shoulders slumped, his back hunched. He was no longer the arrogant man from the luxury house. He was someone broken, someone who had finally understood the cost of his decisions. I arrived home with the envelope in my hand. Mary was in the garden watering her plants. When she saw me, she knew something had happened. What do you have there, Ernest? I sat in one of the garden chairs. I told her everything. The call, the meeting, Richard's words, the check. She listened in silence. When I finished, she stared at the envelope for a long time. What do you plan to do with that? She asked me. I do not know. It is your decision, Mary. That money is for you. She took the envelope. She opened it. She looked at the check. Then she folded it again and gave it back to me. Keep it. Do not tear it up, but do not cash it yet. Leave it there, as a reminder that people can change, or that at least they can try. Are you not angry? I am many things, Ernest. Angry, sad, confused. But I am also a mother, and a part of me, as much as it hurts, still worries about him. It does not mean I forgive him. It does not mean I want to see him. It just means I do not wish him harm, that I hope he finds his path, far from us, but that he finds it. That night I put the check in a drawer in my desk. I did not cash it. I did not tear it up. I just left it there, like she said, as a reminder that even in the darkest stories there can be an attempt at redemption, even if it is small, even if it is late. The weeks continued. Sarah came to visit us again. This time she stayed longer, a full week. She helped Mary with the garden. They cooked together. They talked about women's, things I did not understand, but that made them laugh. It was good to see them like that, recovering the relationship that was almost lost. One afternoon, Sarah looked for me in the study. Dad, can I ask you something? Sure, daughter. Do you think Mom can ever forgive Richard one day? I sighed. It was the question I asked myself. I do not know, Sarah. Forgiveness is something very personal, very complex. It cannot be forced. It cannot be rushed. Your mother is healing at her own pace. Maybe one day she can forgive. Maybe not. And either of the two options is okay. It is not our place to judge her for what she feels. And you, have you forgiven him? I stayed thinking. It was a good question. I do not know, daughter. There are days when I think so, that I understand he was a weak man who made bad decisions, that he was manipulated by Vanessa, that social pressure blinded him, and there are days when I see your mother looking out the window with that sadness in her eyes and the rage returns, the helplessness of not having been there to protect her. So no, I suppose I have not forgiven him completely, but I am working on not letting that consume me, on focusing on what I have, not on what I lost. Sarah hugged me. You are a good man, Dad, and a good husband. Mom is lucky to have you. I am lucky to have her, and to have children like you and Michael who understand what real family means. That conversation made me reflect a lot about forgiveness, about family, about what really matters in life. For decades I worked hard thinking success was having money, properties, businesses. And yes, those things help. They facilitate life. But they are not the important thing. The important things are people, relationships, genuine love. Richard had everything material and had nothing real. He lived in a big but empty house, with a woman who did not love him, surrounded by expensive things that gave him no happiness. Instead, I in that simple house with Mary had everything that mattered, her hand in mine at night, her laughter in the mornings, the visits of our good children, the grandchildren running in the garden. That was real wealth. One day, a package arrived by mail. It was from Michael. I opened it. Inside was a photo album. A note said, Dad, Mom, I put this together with photos I found in old boxes and others you sent me over the years. So you remember all the good moments. So you know there is more happiness in your story than sadness. Love you, Michael. That night, Mary and I sat in the living room with the album. We opened it slowly, photo by photo. There we were the day of our wedding, young, smiling, full of hope. Then the photos of when the children were born. Richard as a baby, Sarah in her first communion dress, Michael at his graduation. There were birthday photos, of Christmases, of vacations on the beach, of Sundays in the park, a whole life captured on paper. And yes, there was pain in some memories, but there was also much joy, much love, much life well lived. Michael is right, said Mary. There is more light than darkness in our story. We cannot let a few bad years erase decades of good things. She was right. We could not. We should not. Richard's betrayal was real. The pain was real, but everything else was also real. The years of building together, of raising each other, of being a team, no one could take that away from us. The months kept passing. They turned into a year, then into 2. Life continued. Mary finished her therapy. The doctor said she had done exceptional work processing her trauma, that she was a strong woman, stronger than she believed herself. We celebrated 47 years of marriage. We had a small party, only close family. Sarah came with her family. Michael managed to get vacation time and traveled from Canada. Some cousins, some lifelong friends. It was a beautiful celebration. Simple, full of true love. During the toast, it was my turn to speak. I stood up with the glass in my hand. I looked at Mary. She still seemed beautiful to me, with her gray hair, with her wrinkles, with life marked on her face. Beautiful. 47 years ago, I married this woman. I thought I knew her. I thought I knew how strong she was. But I was wrong. I had no idea. I did not know she could survive what she survived. I did not know she could forgive what she has forgiven. I did not know her love was so deep that it could heal even the ugliest wounds. Mary, I love you more today than the day we married, because today I truly know you, and what I know is extraordinary. There were tears, hugs, laughter too. It was a perfect night, the kind of night you keep in your heart like a treasure. But life does not end in happy endings. Life goes on, and going on means facing whatever comes. A year after that party, I received another call from Richard. This time I did not hesitate to answer. Dad, can we see each other? Please, it is important. We met again in the same coffee shop. Richard arrived on time this time. He looked different again. Cleaner, more centered, less broken than the last time. Thanks for coming, Dad. What do you need, Richard? I do not need anything. I just wanted to update you. I have been in therapy for a year, working on myself, on understanding why I did what I did, on changing. I got a stable job. English teacher in a public high school. I do not earn much, but it is honest. I am paying my debts little by little. I live in a small apartment, but it is mine, clean. I listened without interrupting. I have also been saving. Every month I put something away. And when I gather a decent amount, I make a deposit to an account I opened in Mom's name. I have been depositing for a year. It is not much. Maybe $5,000 in total. But it is money I earned honestly, without stealing, without lying. I want her to have it, not as payment for what I did. I could never pay for that, just as a way of showing I am trying. He took out a paper, a sheet where all the deposits were noted, dates, amounts, everything documented. I do not want to see her, Dad. I know I have no right. I know I caused her too much harm. I just want her to know I think of her every day, that I regret it every day, and that I am trying to be the man I should have been from the beginning. I looked at him for a long time, searching for signs of manipulation, of falsehood. I did not find them. This Richard was different. He was not the son I raised, nor was he the monster who left his mother on the street. He was something in between, a man trying to rebuild himself. I will give the account information to your mother. She will decide what to do with that. Thanks, Dad. It is all I ask. He got up to leave. Before reaching the door, he turned. Dad, one more thing. I want you to know I do not blame you for cutting me out of your life, nor for taking away my inheritance, nor for suing me. You did the right thing, what any good father would have done, and although it hurts, I respect you for it. You taught me that actions have consequences. It took me a long time to understand, but I understood. That night I told everything to Mary. I gave her the paper with the deposits. She read it in silence. What do you think? I asked her. I think people can change. Not always, not everyone, but some do. I do not know if one day I will be able to look him in the eye without feeling pain. I do not know if one day I will be able to hug him without remembering those nights on the street. But I am glad to know he is trying, that he is growing even if it is far from us. Do you want the money? I do not need it. I have everything I need here. But I am not going to reject it either. I will leave it in that account. Maybe one day it will serve for something. For a grandchild. For an emergency. For whatever. But the important thing is not the money. It is that he is learning to earn it honestly. That is what matters. So the years passed. 3, 4, 5. Mary and I grew old together, quietly, in our house, surrounded by the love of Sarah and Michael, of the grandchildren who were growing up, of the friends who remained, of the simple and honest life we should have always had. Richard kept depositing money in that account every month, without failing, without asking for anything in return, without attempting contact, just complying with what he said he would do, demonstrating with actions, not words. And although forgiveness did not arrive, respect began to grow. Respect for a man who had fallen deep and was trying to climb up. Step by step, deposit by deposit. I do not know if one day there will be complete reconciliation. I do not know if Mary will be able to hug him again without pain. I do not know if I will be able to call him son without feeling that pang in the chest. But I know we did the right thing. We set limits. We protected the sacred. We defended dignity. And that, at the end of the day, is the only thing we can control. Others' decisions are theirs. The consequences, too. But our decisions, our dignity, our love, that is ours. And no one can take it from us while we breathe. 6 months ago, I turned 75. Mary turned 73. We celebrated with a quiet dinner at home. Sarah and Michael came. The grandchildren are already teenagers. One of them asked why his Uncle Richard never comes to family gatherings. Sarah looked at him nervously, waiting for my reaction. It was Mary who answered. Your uncle made very big mistakes years ago. Mistakes that hurt this family a lot. We are still healing. The doors are not closed forever, but they are not open yet either. Sometimes love means setting limits, and that is what we had to do. The boy nodded. He did not ask more. Young people understand more than we believe. They understand that not all stories have perfect endings, that some families have fractures that never heal completely, and that it is okay, that life goes on anyway. That night, when everyone left, Mary and I sat in the garden. Like so many other nights, the air was fresh. The stars shone. I took her hand. Her fingers intertwined with mine. After so many years, they still fit perfectly. Are you happy, Mary? She looked at me, those eyes that had seen so much pain, that had also seen so much love. Yes, Ernest, I am happy, not in the way I imagined I would be, not without scars, not without difficult nights, but yes, I am happy. Because I am alive, because I am with you, because I have a roof no one is going to take from me, food no one is going to deny me, and love no one can steal from me. That is more than what many people have. So yes, I am happy. Her words filled my chest. Because that was the truth. We had lost things. A son, years of tranquility, the innocence of believing that family is always there unconditionally. But we had also gained things. Clarity about who we really were. Strength we did not know we had. Appreciation for the simple and the real. I am happy too, Mary. With you I have always been happy, even in the worst moments. Because as long as I have you, I have everything. 2 weeks ago, I received a letter. It was from Richard, handwritten on simple paper, without pretenses. Dad, Mom, I do not expect an answer to this letter. I just need you to know some things. I have been working on myself for 5 years. 5 years trying to understand how I became the man I was. 5 years learning to be different. I have not achieved it completely. I still have bad days. Days when shame crushes me. But I keep trying. I got married again. To a humble woman. A teacher like me. Her name is Patricia. She is good. Honest. She has taught me that true love does not ask for luxuries. It only asks for presence, respect, honesty. The things I did not give Vanessa. The things I did not give you either. We are going to have a baby. A girl. And when I found out, the first thing I thought was, will I be able to be a good father? After having been such a bad son, Patricia told me yes, that people are not just their worst moments, that we are also our attempts to improve. I want to believe her. If one day when my daughter is grown she asks about her grandparents, I am going to tell her the truth. I am going to tell her that her dad was a bad son, that he deeply hurt her grandmother, that he lost the right to call himself a son by his actions. But I am also going to tell her that her grandparents are extraordinary people, that her grandfather worked all his life to give his family a future, that her grandmother survived things that would have destroyed anyone, and that both taught me, even if it was through pain, what dignity means. I do not ask you to forgive me. I do not ask you to receive me back. I only ask that you know that not a day goes by without me thinking of you, without me regretting, without wishing I could turn back time. But since I cannot, I only try to be better today than I was yesterday. The money I have deposited during these years now reaches almost $40,000. I know it is not enough. It will never be enough. But it is all I can give. Keep using it as you think best, or do not use it as you decide. I love you. I have always loved you. Even when my actions said the opposite, and although I never see you again, I want you to know you saved me. By setting limits, by saying no, by showing me that actions have consequences. You saved me from being that man forever. You gave me the chance to change, even if it was far from you. Thanks for that. Thanks for everything. Richard. I read the letter aloud. Mary listened with her eyes closed. When I finished, silence. Long. Deep. Then she spoke. Do you know what is the hardest part of all this, Ernest? What? That a part of me wants to hug him, wants to tell him everything is fine, that I forgive him completely. But another part, the part that lived on that street, that felt that abandonment. That one cannot. Not yet. Maybe never. You do not have to force yourself to anything, Mary. I know. But I would like to be able to. I would like to be one of those people who forgive easily, who forget quickly. But I am not like that. My forgiveness comes slow. It comes with time, with consistent actions, with proofs of real change. And 5 years, although they seem like many, still feel like little compared to what I lived. I understood perfectly. Forgiveness cannot be rushed. It cannot be demanded. Each person processes it at their own pace, and Mary's pace was the right one for her, not for me. Not for Richard, for her, and that was the only thing that mattered. Do you want to meet your granddaughter when she is born? I asked her. She thought for a long time. I do not know. Ask me in a few months, when she is born. When it is real. Maybe then my heart will have a different answer. That night I kept the letter along with the check from years ago, along with the documents of the deposits, all the evidence of my son's attempt at redemption. I did not know if one day they would serve for something, if one day there would be reconciliation. But I kept them anyway. Because hope, although small, still existed. The days followed. Mary and I fell into the routine of old age, waking up early, slow breakfasts, walks through the subdivision, naps in the afternoon, movies at night, simple life, good life, deserved life after so many years of work and struggle. One morning I woke up and Mary was not in bed. I looked for her around the house. I found her in the garden. She was standing in front of her roses, those she had planted 3 years ago when we moved. They had already grown. They bloomed beautiful, red, white, yellow, a rainbow of life. I approached slowly. I stood next to her. "They are beautiful, right?" she said without turning. "Beautiful." I planted them thinking maybe I would not live to see them bloom like this, thinking maybe I was too old to start over. But here they are, blooming, growing, alive. She turned to me, smiling. That smile that made me fall in love more than 50 years ago. We are like these roses, Ernest. They transplanted us. They tore us from where we were. They put us in new soil. And although it hurt, although we thought we would not survive, here we are, blooming. There is still beauty in us. There is still life. I hugged her. I felt her fragile but strong body against mine. I smelled her usual perfume. I felt her calm breathing, and I knew she was right. We had survived. Not only survived, we had bloomed again. That afternoon I made a decision. I called Richard. He answered, surprised. "Dad, your daughter, when she is born, send me a photo. Just a photo. Your mother will decide later if she wants more. But a photo that we do accept." I heard his voice breaking. "Thanks, Dad. Thanks. She will be named Mary. If Mom does not mind, I want her to carry her name, so she always remembers she comes from an extraordinary woman." I did not answer. I just hung up, but not with anger, with acceptance, with the understanding that families are complex, that love and pain can exist at the same time, that forgiveness is a path, not a destination. I told Mary that night. She cried. I do not know if from sadness or relief, maybe both, but when she finished crying, she looked at me and said, "It is fine. A photo is fine. Small steps. Maybe one day they will be bigger steps. Or maybe not, but small steps that I can give." And that was enough. Because no one has the right to demand more than a person can give. Forced forgiveness is not forgiveness. It is acting, and we no longer acted. We lived authentically, with our wounds, with our scars, but authentically. Today, while I write these lines mentally, while I remember everything lived, I understand some truths that only time and suffering can teach. First truth, family is not just blood. It is commitment. It is respect. It is mutual care. Richard shared my blood, but he ceased to be family the day he abandoned his mother. Sarah and Michael share my blood and are family, because they acted as such. The difference is not in the DNA, it is in the actions. Second truth, money reveals character. It does not create it. Richard always had weakness in him. Money only made it visible. Poverty would have created other tests. The result might have been the same, because character is built since childhood or it is not built. Third truth, it is never too late to start over. Mary started over at 70. I started over at 68. Richard is starting over at 40-something. Life does not end when you fall. It ends when you decide to stay down. Fourth truth, dignity is not negotiated. Never. For anyone. Not even for a son. When you put your dignity in second place, you lose everything. When you defend it, even if you lose things, you gain the most important thing, your self-respect. Fifth truth, true love is demonstrated in crises. Anyone can love when everything is easy. Real love appears when life hits you, when you are on the floor, when you have nothing to offer except your vulnerability. Mary and I loved each other in abundance, but we loved each other more deeply in adversity. That is the love that is worth it. I look back and see a full life, not perfect, full of work, of achievements, of failures, of good children and a lost son, of beautiful years and terrible years, of everything that makes a life real and not a fairy tale. If I could turn back time, would I change anything? Yes, I would have stayed in Chicago. I never would have accepted that job in Texas. I would have protected Mary. I would have seen the signs in Richard from before. But I cannot turn back time. No one can. We can only move forward with what we learned. And what I learned is this, that at the end of the day, when the lights go out and you are left alone with yourself, the only thing that matters is if you can look at yourself in the mirror. If you can sleep peacefully. If you can honestly say you did the right thing even when it hurt. I can. Mary can. And that is enough. Last night I dreamed of my father. He died more than 60 years ago, but I saw him clear as if he were alive. We were in his workshop. He fixed shoes to make a living. He looked at me with those tired but noble eyes and told me, Ernest, a man is measured by how he treats the weakest, by how he protects those who depend on him. You did good, son. You did good. I woke up crying, but they were good tears, tears of peace, because he was right. I did good, not perfect, but good. I protected whom I had to protect. I put limits where they needed to be. I defended the sacred, and that is all a man can do. This morning Mary and I had breakfast in the garden, sweet bread, coffee, fruit. The sun warmed gently. The birds sang. She took my hand across the table. Do you know what day it is today, Ernest? Tuesday. It is the anniversary. Exactly 7 years since you returned, since you found me, since you saved me. I remained silent. I had not remembered. But she had. Because some dates are engraved in the soul. I did not save you, Mary. I arrived late. I should have been there from the beginning. No, you arrived exactly when you had to arrive, neither before nor after, and you saved me. Not only from the street, you saved me from losing faith that there are still good people, that there is still real love. You saved me, reminding me that I am worth it, that I deserve respect, that I deserve love. That is more valuable than having saved me from the street. We stayed there sitting, holding hands. Two old people who had lived too much and very little at the same time. Two survivors, two winners of a battle that no one applauds because it is fought in silence. In hearts, in difficult decisions, in long nights, and while the sun rose and the day began, I felt something I had not felt in years. Gratitude, deep gratitude for being alive, for having this woman next to me, for having learned the lessons life taught me even if they hurt, because in the end, after all, life is not about not falling. It is about getting up. It is not about not being betrayed. It is about not becoming a traitor. It is not about having a perfect family. It is about protecting the family that deserves to be protected. And it is not about not feeling pain. It is about not letting pain destroy you. Mary and I achieved it. We fell. We got up. They hurt us. We healed. We lost. We gained. And we are still here, together, dignified, whole where it matters, in the heart, in the soul, in the love that unites us. That is our story. It does not have the perfect ending of movies. It has the real ending of life, where things hurt but also heal, where one loses but also finds, where there are dark nights but also beautiful sunrises. And if someone asked me what I learned from all this, I would say simply I learned that dignity is not for sale, that respect is earned with actions, that real family is built, not inherited, and that true love, that love that resists storms, that survives, betrayals, that blooms even in arid land, that love is what really matters. The rest, the money, the houses, the businesses, all that passes, comes and goes. But true love defended dignity, mutual respect that remains. That transcends. That is what makes us human, what makes us worth it. And as long as I have Mary, as long as I can hold her hand every morning, as long as I can see her roses bloom, as long as I can sleep peacefully knowing I did the right thing, I will have everything, absolutely everything. Thanks for listening to this old man's story. If it leaves you something, let it be this. Never, never allow anyone to take away your dignity, neither for blood, nor for money, nor for anything, because without dignity we are nothing. With dignity we are invincible. Take care of yours. And always remember, family is demonstrated with actions, not with words.